I do. Elon Reeve Musk, ELONREEVEMUSK. Uh, may I take an opportunity to review it again? All right, thank you. Are you referring to these? Yeah. General rules. Yes. I do not. And sorry, I forget that even though it's videotaped, there's also a written thing, which hence the clarification. I was sort of puzzled as to why it's being repeated, but yeah. Sure. Yes, I am. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I believe so. Transfer of instruments. Sure. I mean, not before a government entity, but I've done depositions in civil cases. Yes, yes. Sure. Got it.
Please note
Absolutely.
just
Understand.
because
Yes.
it is a
I do. Sure. Fair, yeah. Should I be answering these or just acknowledging them, or? Okay. Wait for a pause. My apologies. You make things difficult. If I'm making things difficult from a stenography standpoint, please let me know. Sure. Yes. No. Uh, I reviewed documents last night with counsel, and that's pretty much it. No. Did anyone tell me to testify? Sorry. Oh, no, no. Well, concerning is broad. No. No. No, I was just remarking on the definition of concerning being quite broad. Sorry. Defining the word or to mean and/or. And the word and also means and or. Sorry. The masculine gender includes the female gender. Okay. Yeah. No,
for today.
no. But some of these definitions, given that they are contrary to the sort of standard English meaning of the words, I think maybe I should just spend a moment just understanding them, because it is interesting that it defines words differently than one would use in common vernacular. Yeah, absolutely. Just if when something says like the word "or" has been redefined to mean "and or," and "and" has been defined to mean "and or" as well, is unusual. I've not seen that before. All right, thank you, Connor. Yes. Not offhand, no. Yes. I did not. Yeah, no. So not that I can recall. I do not think so. Yes. I'm not sure of the exact date, but shortly thereafter. Yes. I think it was within a few days. Um, some may have been immediate. I'm not sure. I provided my phone and several computers. Yes. Yeah, it is. don't have one. Yeah. I mean, of course, being sure. Oh. All right. No. I believe so. No. No. Pretoria, South Africa. I went to Queen's University in Canada. Was there for 2 years. Transferred to the University of Pennsylvania, completed a dual undergraduate degree in physics and economics at the Wharton School, and then came out to California to do a PhD in flight physics and material science at Stanford, but ended up putting that on hold to start an internet company. I met a lot of future investment bankers to convince me not to have a career in that direction. Yeah. Yes. No problem. I am the CEO of the company, although I'm considering changing my title. Nothing. Quite literally. No, I just think there's too much focus on titles, and I think that you have all these titles like chairman and CEO and sort of all these titles, and people get too focused on titles, and then everyone wants a title. So I think the best title is no title. Yes. Yes, well, I'm considering just not having a title there either. The title of chairman is somewhat of an honorific, and has little in the way of de facto value. So no. I just think people are too concerned about titles. I hope not. I don't think so. Oh, well, yeah, but that's not really a title. I think I somewhat embarrassingly called myself Chief Product Officer or something like that. That was in the vestiges of the past. That's a tragic title. I think it might be, unfortunately. Um, well, so the origins are interesting. At some point there should be some accurate recounting of this. But in 2003, I had lunch with J.B. Straubel and another fellow who was, whose name I'll remember in a moment, but he's quite famous in space, and he's the one who requested the meeting, and in the course of the meeting in 2003, we got to the subject of electric vehicles, and I mentioned that my PhD at Stanford would have been in high energy density electric energy storage for electric vehicles, essentially trying to develop advanced ultracapacitors for use in electric vehicles in order to commercialize electric vehicles and make them work and have long range. and fast charging. Is this too fast? Is this okay? And so JB suggested that I have a test drive of the T0 vehicle from that was made by AC Propulsion, which is a small engineering shop in Southern California. So I had a test drive of the T0, which was a sports car that had essentially the properties of what we later did in Tesla with the Roadster, where it had about a 250-mile range, a 0 to 60 time of under 4 seconds, yeah. So it was sort of a proof of concept prototype, and I talked to Tom Gage and Al Capone at AC Propulsion and tried to convince them to commercialize the T0, and saying that the world really needed to see what electric cars were capable of. And despite my best efforts, I could not convince them to commercialize the T0. So they were just not interested in going beyond a sort of small engineering shop. And so after a few months of trying to convince them to do that, I said, well, if you guys are not going to create a productized commercial version of the T0, then would you mind if I did that? And they said, sure. It's important to note that the T0, while it was a 2-seater electric sports car, it also didn't have any doors or airbags or any safety features, and was extremely expensive to make on a one-off basis. It was like $500,000. So there's quite a big gap between a proof of concept prototype and creating a car that meets all of the regulatory requirements and is safe and reliable and doesn't cost $500,000. So when I suggested that to Tom Gage, I said, he said, well, there are 2 other teams that are interested in doing this as well. I never met the other team, but the one team he did introduce me to was Martin Eberhard, Mark Toppling, and Ian Wright. Wright, W? Oh, Ian? I-A-N. No, they didn't have anything except a business plan which involved commercializing the AC Propulsion T0. I thought, running SpaceX at the time, this is maybe a way for me to advance the cause of electric vehicles without having to run 2 companies. That didn't work out, obviously. I think, like, to some degree, it's sort of like a case of, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So, like, whenever you try to do something and avoid hard work, good things do not come from that, or at least too much work. So I thought I would combine forces with Mark, Martin, and Ian, and then bring in JB, rather than just create a separate company with JB and me. But maybe too
more
laborious,
detailed.
I don't know. But I mean, like, it's interesting. I mean, how much detail do you want? Sure. Yes. I know that date well because it's June 28th, 2010. Yes. Yes. I do. Is it legally the president or actually a CEO? I'm not sure if that's. I think technically it's the president or something like that. But yeah, so the head of the company. Approximately cent. Similar. So I'm the CEO and chief engineer, chief designer of the rockets. So it's really pretty similar at both companies. I drive the technical direction of the product, so I'm the overall head of engineering or design, and also run the company. Yes, but the time allocation is minor. So I have some little companies.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I have the boring company, which digs tunnels, bores tunnels, and that's a real fun company. I have to say the enjoyment to grief ratio is very good there so far. The enjoyment to grief ratio is quite good, for now at least. Famous last words. Um, so that's digging tunnels and and selling bizarre merchandise. And then there's Neuralink, which is where the goal is to help solve brain injuries and strokes, dementia, Parkinson's. Just there's a whole range of epilepsy, and using computer chips to be able to do that. And this is a bit esoteric, but with a longer-term view to potentially achieving symbiosis with artificial intelligence, which I think achieving symbiosis with artificial intelligence, which could be important on an existential level for civilization. No. Yes. Yes. Just Neuralink. So just those three for companies. Yeah. I haven't bothered with a boring address. Yes. I mean, there may be occasional mistakes, but it is almost always. I try to be quite careful about the specificity of each company. Actually, the phone's pretty good. Essentially, if somebody emails me from Tesla, it's automatically going to be initiate an email. The reply will automatically come from my Tesla address. Likewise, if I send an email to somebody and they're at Tesla, it will default to sending from my Tesla address. To the public, you mean? I mean, there's only one. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but there's only one communication that I recall relating at all to the take private, which was Todd Moran sending me a note saying, okay. Yes, yes. Yes, it was just one note. Yeah, it may be privileged. I don't know, but it's not. I mean, I can just say it's not like it was just. I'm not sure exactly, but early August. It was prior to that. Yes. It informed the tweet, so that's why I think it may be relevant. Yeah. Sam Teller is my chief of staff and is. What show is it? He is on the. I believe. Yeah, I do want to emphasize very little was discussed at all. Yeah. I don't. I don't think so. It's very brief. Maybe a few weeks, but this was very little, and yeah, and was sort of unrelated to this matter. Probably June. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yes. Yes. No. I don't recall. Don't know. I think Sam may have just set the setting, but I'm not sure. Sam
today.
Teller, yes. I mean, to be clear, there was very little on. Not like there was a, ton of communication. There was very little on it. I don't recall any communications. Yes. I didn't. I was actually quite surprised to see a note from him. unwise. I did have it installed, but I actually not used it in years. And I don't use it because no. I have Twitter. Correct. Yeah, it's embarrassing. Why is it funny? Uh, well, there's just, you know, I think it sort of gives this false impression that people are having these amazing lives when in fact they can be quite miserable, and it then creates unhappiness because people compare their life to the apparent life of others, and then they feel bad. And I think it may actually contribute to an increase in the suicide rate, which is terrible. And so I didn't like it and deleted it. About a week ago. Yeah, right in the beginning when it was a filter for Twitter. It used to just be like a, you'd have an image on Twitter as like a plug-in, and you'd like use it as a filter. I was one of the first people to use it, actually. So I took snapshots of like the few photos that I care about, and then deleted it. Yeah, kind of, close to it, an early version. I'm not sure it was beta, but it was like very early. You can't even get those filters anymore. I use it infrequently. I mean, I had it, I think, for 6 or 6.5 years. And in that entire time, probably did an average of 1 post a month or something like that. I actually only realized about a year ago that there was one. But it's just entirely for personal reasons. And generally involved sending some Instagram picture to somebody else with a, LOL or something. Yes.
To discuss tests.
Sorry. Is this entirely frivolous? No, not at all. Well, technically, I first signed up for Twitter when it was very tiny. I think it only had a few thousand users. And a friend of mine was one of the lead Series A investors in Twitter. And so I signed up, and then people just kept talking about like what kind of latte they had at Starbucks. And so then I was like, this is ridiculous. I deleted my Twitter because it just seemed like nonsense. And then somebody else took over my Twitter handle and started posting things in my name. But I kind of ignored Twitter until about probably, when was it? 2011 or 10 or something. And a friend of mine suggested that Twitter would be a good way to talk directly to the public and bypass the media. Obviously, a double-edged sword. But I thought, well, this could be a good way to not always have what I want to say filtered through the lens of a journalist. Close. It was unrelated to, well, it was related from a press standpoint, as a means of counteracting the press. But yeah, around that time. Elon Musk. No. No. I don't think so. No. No. In the beginning, I'm not sure what I don't think, I think I was just tweeting nonsense. I was torturing people with my terrible sense of humor. Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm not sure it has entirely. It's still, you know, whimsical, bad humor interspersed with uh, talk of SpaceX and Tesla and Boring Company and Neuralink and OpenAI and other things. Oh, I forgot to mention OpenAI. Yeah. Sort of. It's a non-profit. I'm not on the board or anything. I think it would have been 2 or 3 years ago. Not more than 4 years ago. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The there was a blatantly false review in the New York Times about this terrible test drive that a Times journalist had in our car, where he fundamentally misrepresented the test drive and flat out lied, which we were able to determine from the car logs, since it was our car he was driving. We had full access to logs, including everything the car did, and his entire story was a piece of fiction. And so we pointed that out. It was. I think 2013 or 14, something like that. Yes. Yeah, essentially trying to combat what I saw as a misrepresentation of Tesla in the media. Hmm. Well, I think it varies quite a lot. So it could be anywhere, maybe once a week or something like that on average. But then there are times when there's a lot more tweets than that. Yeah, I think there can be a week can go by with no mention of Tesla, and then there could be a day where there's a great deal of it. Do you mean was I speaking as a CEO of Tesla or something? Or I felt I was sort of speaking as leader of the company. Yeah, I guess. You okay? Yeah, no problem. No, no. I mean, occasionally I've asked Sam, what do you think of this tweet? Yes. Yeah, sure. Well, if he happens to be there and I'm not too certain about this tweet, I'll ask Sam, what do you think? Most of the time, I do not ask anyone. Uh, yes, there's, I believe, a disclosure in our corporate documents that I use Twitter. Yes. No. I'm not aware of a formal policy. Not really. Yes. In some cases. Very few. But I've actually gone back and unblocked a bunch of them. It's better to just mute them, because then they use the block feature as they like get all excited about that. So mute's way better. They can still see my tweets, but I can't see theirs. Yes. No. I cannot recall any instances where I did that. Yes.
distinct. You
Yes.
understand?
Yes. Yes.